feminine style rhetoric that influences men. Do join me after this and let's dig a bit deeper into what this rhetoric is all about, and especially feminine style rhetoric. When we talk about style, we are transcending fashion. We are talking about something that goes beyond just putting on some clothes and putting on a dress and putting on just a certain way of being. It goes beyond style. It goes beyond drip. When I say feminine style rhetoric, I'm really talking about your being and your embodying all your feminine goodness to influence the men around you, not manipulate, because feminine energy intrinsically influences. I mean, I could give you a number of examples in the Bible. Queen Esther, all the queens that you can think of, they all use their feminine wiles and their feminine rhetoric. So I'm just gonna go a little bit deeper into that. But before I do, please do like, share, comment, and subscribe to the Black Swan Relationship Academy. Again, my name is Swan, and I am your style concierge as well as your head coach here on the Black Swan Relationship Academy, and welcome to another video where we really dissect style, fashion, and just dating in general, and how to present as a high value feminine woman. So let's go into feminine style rhetoric. What is rhetoric? It's really about the style of communication. So when you think of femininity, in a way, it's how we communicate to the world. It's how we show up. It's how we are received. It's how we want to be received. I can tell you to go and dress up like a woman and dress up all feminine, wear dresses and wear this, have this for your wardrobe and da-da. But if you don't embody intrinsically that influential power, that influential being, a feminine woman, it just kind of falls to the wayside, right? So what I'm really talking about today, the only thing I can think about that comes as an example is if you think of Thor in Ragnarok. He was given a hammer, right? He always thought he needed his hammer for him to possess the power. But in Ragnarok, we find that he discovers that his power is actually inside him. It's always been in him. And what he was using, what his father had given him the hammer for, is so that he could focus that energy. So in the same way, if we think of feminine energy, we want you to be able to harness your particular style of femininity, which is not everyone's, right? My style of femininity is very soft-spoken, it's very quiet, it's endearing, it's sweet, and it also shows up in the way I dress and the way, you know, just I'm funny, I joke around a lot, and I love to bring laughter around people. That is my style of femininity, and the way I use it to communicate and influence my man is I provide a safe space for him. I provide a space where he can laugh belly out and everything. It's just something I do. Recently, I've kind of been sitting back and just noticing the kind of effects I have on people and around people, what I actually do for them, and that is my style rhetoric, and that is my art of communicating and showing up to the world and being influential in that way. I cannot come and be all serious and be heard, because I will not be taken seriously. I don't take myself seriously, for one, and that is my gift. That is my gift of allowing people to let their hair down and have fun and really be themselves and present who they are and be able to harness that in the way they then show up in the world. I also use this when I'm styling people because I want the fun element of them to come out. I want them to stop being all serious and business serious, especially when it comes to dating and approaching men, because what you want is You want your man to see that soft side. You want him to see that side that draws him to you, that side that makes him stick by you, the side that makes him feel secure. Because yes, men do want security too. So there is just something about when you own your own feminine style, when you own your own art, when you own just the intrinsic way in which you show up. That is what we call feminist style rhetoric. So let's go a little bit deeper into it, and do join Swan Nation, by the way, because we can talk a little bit more about this in there. But in the meantime, let's actually dive in a little bit more into what I'm talking about today. So really, femininity does not mean you're a woman. I'm talking about the energy. I'm not talking about the gender itself. I'm talking about the energy that is presented as feminine. And remember, all of us embody both feminine and masculine, but there is one that you're predominantly pushed towards. There's one that you will always seem to veer towards. So I'm not saying that you just have to sit and be quiet and you have to, you know, don't be loud spoken. If that is your way of being feminine, yes, you can still be loud spoken and be heard, right? I'm not saying, oh, be soft spoken, be this, be that. And it really depends on the man that you want to attract. If you want to attract a high value masculine man, there's a certain style and a certain way in which you show up. Your communication is sound. You are someone who is well read, someone who is well studied, who knows, not just studying books, by the way, studying yourself, and knows when to speak, when not to speak, when to be silly and when not to be silly. You know how to read a room. You know how to sit back and not act out of fear. You know that you're always acting from an abundant space. And when you embody feminine prowess, you understand that you are abundant, right? And that's the beauty of feminine energy. It comes from an abundant place. When I say feminine style, I'm talking about characteristics that are really seen more in a feminine, I'll say not gender, but feminine energy, and more relaxed energy that flows, energy that's not too caught up in your mind, energy that moves from the heart, energy that is intuitive. That is what we're trying to teach you here, is to date from a space where you're predominantly feminine. Yes, let's wear dresses, but more than anything, let's embody femininity. So feminine style rhetoric can be very, very powerful when used well, just as much as when you embody your full feminine essence. There's not much that you really have to do. I know most of you will always report, oh, my doors are being opened for me, like, you know, my chairs are being pulled out for me. The more I lay back and I was more soft and feminine, it's really very powerful because it's a very subtle energy. It's an energy that is not about authority and commanding and taking charge. It's really more about acceptance, leaning back and allowing. It's about communicating community. It's about communicating togetherness and goals that you both want to achieve with this man. It's really the kind of space where a man can feel heard. There's so much competition in this world where men can't relax. They can't feel heard. They can't even be asked how they feel. I remember there's a video I recorded some time ago about not asking a man how they feel. I'd like to put a correction on that. It was really, we have to take things into context. When you're dating someone, when you're first of all meeting someone, it's not your duty to manage their feelings, to manage how they feel and to mother them, because that borderline does veer on mothering. But when I'm talking about here, this is now when you're in a relationship, when both of you have literally opened your hearts to each other and you're growing to know this man. It's okay to ask a man how they feel. It's okay to ask a man, especially when you're in the relationship, not when you're just communicating on the app. Those are really reserved more for the relationship space. And normally, I know sometimes we try and take rules that were from dating into relationships, but it never really works that way. We treat you principles that will safeguard you and principles that will help you to win a man's heart. And here, what I'm more talking about is principles that will help you to keep a man's heart. Because there's one thing about holding space for someone and then being able to maintain that space. So what I'm talking about here is when you embody feminine style, it's not about opening up space and then being able to allow that person to be heard. It's really more about allowing a man a space and a way in which they can exist without being judged. Feminine energy is very non-judgmental. Like at its core, it's non-judgmental. It literally holds space, which is why women can be mothers, because we can hold space for our children, even though mothering is predominantly a masculine role, because you want to provide for your child, you want to protect your child. There is also the feminine side where you're able to lean back, and it's all balanced really. As we always say in this channel, it's never here nor there. There's always somewhere in the middle. We always have to find a way we can communicate with our men so that we can find a style that works for them. And the thing is, once you know your core needs and your core values as a woman, you will relax a lot more into how to then show up in your feminine style, right? It won't be a matter of, oh, Unique said, or Coach Unique said, or Coach Chengi said, or Coach Yvonne said, or any of the coaches, Coach Nadine, Magdalena, or Kiara, or Edwina. It will not be about the rules that we've set for you and this is what we said. It will be more about you really leaning into your intuition so that you can understand the man that you have attracted into your life and allow them to show up for you, and as well as you showing up for them. So when you are using feminine style rhetoric, which is really about feminine techniques from Marilyn Monroe times, feminine techniques from the age of time, it's about how you speak, how you really just describing the course, which is how to speak to a man so he listens. Definitely listen to that and download it. And there's so many courses that we are really digging down into the intuitiveness of being a woman. The latest course that we have at the moment is our breakup course, which really delves in and allows you to be able to settle your heart when it is broken, settle your heart when you think that you cannot move on, and step out of your head and back into your heart again, and allowing your heart to know that it can love again. So I don't want to digress. So where I was going with this is that it's really about how you entice your audience, and your audience being your man. How you entice your audience to participate in a life with you, to participate in the way you talk, to actually listen to you. So it's little things about how, when you praise a man, of course he's going to want to keep doing those things that you're praising him for, rather than always suggesting that I wish you would and I wish you could. The best thing is always to say, I really love how you always surprise me with flowers and gifts. Like, it just warms my heart, right? And it's just a way of you saying it without demanding, right? Just in the same way, like, my boyfriend used to buy me flowers. Of late, I haven't asked him to buy me flowers, but it's more like I keep telling him, look, I really love it. I really enjoy that. And because I've included surprises, he continues to surprise me with so many different things. And as our relationship evolves, might I say, after being in a relationship for 1 year, I think I'm an expert at boyfriendship and girlfriendship, right? Chenki will also obviously have my head for this, because I always joke about how I now have like a 1 year experience, so I can tell you all about it about being a girlfriend. But we move, joking aside. So my feminine style rhetoric in this case, what I've used, it is for him to continue being his best self. When I see him speaking, when I hear a conversation he's had, and when he's talking with passion, I praise him and I tell him that, look, I really love how, you were in that space. Like, that's my man. I love seeing my man gingered like that. And we always use that word, right? We say gingered like that. So, because to him, it helps him really reach for his dreams. And the style in which I talk to him is what has brought this relationship to this place where it is right now, where he is able to tell me things that that he really wants to go for in life, and then I encourage him. And so to give you an example, I'm gonna give you 4 things that will really distinguish if someone is using feminine style rhetoric or not. The first one is what we call hedging. It's really, this stems from curiosity, and we always say feminine energy is curious, right? Using words like I wonder, you know, I was thinking, and that statements like that help the other person really zone in into what you want to say. Like things like I wonder, it's always things that it's used as a suggestion, not as an imposition. So in a way, I know hedging sometimes it can have a little bit of negative connotations, but that's what it's called, and that's what we're going with, right? So hedging is really using curious words. It's making a suggestion. It's like you're not saying go this way. It's like you're just saying, okay, may I suggest that we move in that way? That kind of thing. Is you're literally just guiding, but not necessarily forcefully. And the next one is using tag questions. Questions at the end of your sentence, like, I'm sure it is, right? Where you're inviting someone to have an opinion, to come into the conversation. And as women, we really need to learn that. We can't be making statements that are like cutthroat and it is what it is. That's a man's job. That's masculinity job. That's what you can do at work when you've got your employees. And I will suggest as well, even when you're at work, it's actually a lot easier to use things like this, like feminine rhetoric style, to actually get a community working together, to get people working with you when you make suggestions or you tag a question at the end. So it's called tag questions. The next thing, number 3, is inclusivity in your communication. When you start to use words like we could go and watch, or you should come and visit us. It's very inclusive because feminine energy is really about inclusiveness and compassion. You can't be compassionate about someone or something when you don't include them, right? It's about, that's why we say when you say making a man feel heard is including him in your conversation, including him in your plans. And when a man does that for us, we feel, oh my God, he called, he said we had plans together. And we like that kind of conversation because it's inclusive, because it really pulls on our femininity, right? So when we use words like that are inclusive language, like we, us, it draws your man in. It draws him to want to listen to a little more because he knows he's being included. He knows that you are being heard. I mean, there are times when it's inappropriate to use we could do this. So it's really about learning and learning when it's appropriate to actually have a discussion. So at times, even when, say, you have something that you want to bring to the plate, we always suggest, so honey, I'd really love to talk to you. Is it okay if we put some time down when you're free? And another thing that the next one really that I'm going to go into is using, it's called weekend statements, where you put in words like maybe or could we do this? Maybe we could. It's just, you're not making a forced statement like I need you to do this. Come and sit down to me. We need to talk. We need to don't. It's weekend statements allow people to be drawn in. It doesn't weaken you, but what it does, it softens the tone of what you're saying, which is why at the moment we really have this thing of whenever you have a conversation, talk to someone where you can see them face to face. Don't text, don't do things over the phone. If you can avoid it, try and have a conversation face to face, because all of this embodies it, right? Which is why even when I'm talking right now, I'm looking at my camera because it will indicate that I'm looking at you, even though you're not in front of me right now. But the style in which I talk, and if I'm looking at you eye to eye like this, it just feels like I'm really including you in this conversation. So that is what we mean by feminine style rhetoric. So just remember those 4 key things that you could pick out when it comes to embodying your own feminine style rhetoric. So with that said, I really hope this inspires you to kind of really learn about your own feminine style rhetoric and how you can come across. And look, we say join Swan Nation, book a discovery call, and the things I know some of you are in your heads about, okay, how do I even do this? It's like feminine style rhetoric. The first thing you can practice is really by booking a discovery call. what it does, it helps you open up your world. And the feminine world is not closed, it's open. Femininity is all about being open. Femininity is all about inviting someone to come and have a conversation. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm not saying it's a discovery call. I'm inviting you to come and have a conversation with me. Let's talk about the woman that you want to be. Let's see how I can literally help you see that side of you that you feel blocked because you're so stuck in your head, that your heart is not allowing you to open up. And if anything, I really think this should have been the first course that Chinky produced, and she says it herself, which is the breakup course. And I'm just going to leave it right here, and I'll be back just to say my goodbyes. Have a listen to the breakup clinic, which I really hope you will be able to download. And don't forget, my discount code is unique21 hash, which is right here. I'll be back right after this.
Calling all broken-hearted. Yes, I'm talking to you. If you've ever had your heart broken, if you've ever felt frozen in time, totally in love with somebody who doesn't love you back, if you've ever had to walk away from a relationship that you wanted to stay, if you've ever lost love, and if you want to find it again, if you want to be the best version, unjaded version of yourself, if you want to start your next relationship with a pure heart, then this course is for you. You see, in order for us to fly, we need to learn how to jump. You will never know if you can fly unless you're prepared to jump. And it's so much easier to jump when you know how to fall. So in this breakup masterclass, I'm going to be teaching you how to break the fall. And I'm going to be helping those of us who are stuck with an old love, who've had to walk away and are stuck in that pain, a way to process and break down that pain so that you can function again, so that you can have the courage to stand on the ledge that is required for love to happen and jump, knowing that if you do not fly, you will break the fall and you will not break a bone. I recommend this course for absolutely every adult, every single man and woman who has ever been hurt by love. I wish you all the love in the world, and I'll see you on the other side.
Well, hello and welcome back again to the finale of this video where I'm talking about feminine style rhetoric, which is really about the way you come across, the way you speak. If anything, it's just a posh way of saying how to speak to a man so he can listen, right? With that said, it has been a pleasure doing this video for you, and I'm hoping I'll see you on a discovery call. I'm inviting you to discover yourself. This is not for me to discover you, but for you to discover you. It's an open invitation, and all my links are in the description box below. And I'll be sure to answer any questions that you may have. So do put them in the comments below, and I will be sure to have a look. But in the meantime, you take care of you, and I will talk to you soon.
Well done for coming to the end of this video. What I want to ask you is, what have you learned? What is your takeaway? And what are you going to start practicing right away? Those three things are how you are going to get the best out of every class here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy. Please put it in the comments so that we can all have a look. So I can have a look, the coaches can have a look, and I promise you, we read every comment. We may not be able to reply to every comment, but we read all of your comments, and we want to see how you are growing. And we will see you on the next video.